beautiful revolutionaries. My name is Adesina and I've been active in Occupy Santa Fe. I was ready to expatriate from this country this winter, so greatly discouraged with the direction it was heading. And then a brave group of activists went to Liberty Plaza on September 17th and refused to leave. And the wave of uprising at last spread from places like Egypt to cities large and small in the United States. And I knew our time had come, that our time had come, and I must be a part of it. I want to speak to what that spark was that catalyzed us, and how we must now blow all of our breath from all of our lungs onto that spark and continue to build a blazing fire. That spark was mass civil disobedience through reclaiming the commons, putting our bodies inside banks, institutions, universities, and sitting down and saying, "I'm not moving." Politicizing our very bodies by entering spaces we were told we were not allowed to be. That spark was disrupting business as usual. It spoke truth to power again and again. It was brave. I want to pause to honor those on the front lines who have and continue to shed blood in the streets, who have been beaten, who have had their eyes and lungs burned with pepper spray, who were shot with rubber bullets, who were put in ICU, and the over 6,000 arrestees who entered the totalitarian jail system to face more abuse, all in order to stand up to an unjust system, to exercise our disappearing constitutional rights, and to say, "No more, I'm not moving." I want to ask you to all consider the electricity you felt when you first witnessed that courage, the subsequent attempts at blowing out our fire, and how each time we rose out of the ashes and flew higher yet. I want to tap into that electricity again and remind this movement to not lose its edge, its urgency, its efficacy. Many of us are here today to effect reform and make our voices heard, but many of us know that this is only one way to be effective, and we must keep the other tactics alive in this movement. Those committed to reform must act with all of our support, and also those committed to direct action must act and find solidarity from all. And some will do both. They are not mutually exclusive. But let me say, it is bad enough for us to have to face the misrepresentations of the mainstream media of those that engage in nonviolent direct action. We should not have to face that within our own movement. We must continue to embrace a diversity of tactics and not undermine each other's activism. This urgency and momentum would have never built to this exhilarating height had activists met behind closed doors and engaged with the system to air their grievances. We are here because people had courage to disobey unjust and unconstitutional rules and put their bodies on the line publicly. Those of us making those choices should never apologize nor be marginalized within our movement. Our movement must remain grassroots and protect our autonomy and therefore our efficacy. We find and give solidarity to many, and this is good. We stand with workers, with immigrants, with the imprisoned, with the foreclosed upon, with the homeless, with the disenfranchised, with environmental activists, and with indebted students, to name a few. But we must not dilute our message nor our means to be powerful. We don't have to compromise anything. That is the old paradigm, and it is dying. Own your collective power. You don't have to engage in power brokering, or bartering. Do not let your urgency or efficacy be hijacked for anyone else's agenda. Give solidarity without compromising your potency. Don't allow anyone to tell you what this movement is about or how you need to undertake your efforts, who is unwilling to be part of the consensus process that ensures everyone has a voice. We decide who and what we are collectively and how we will get to where we need to go. We decide together. We have all internalized an old system, one of hierarchy and dominance. We must be vigilant to not recreate that system within our very movement. We must check ourselves and each other regularly. Dismantle hierarchy everywhere you see it, but most especially within yourself. Dismantle classism, racism, sexism, homophobism. Dare to interrupt it. Shed the old ways daily, hourly, and every minute. Women need to be a vital part of this movement. Please, men, check yourselves when you enter forums where we're discussing, and leave your privilege at the door. Step back when it is appropriate and make space for other voices and efforts. Don't speak for us, not ever. Don't speak at us, speak to us, but mostly stop to listen. People of color need to be a vital part of this movement. Check your assumptions that you speak for anyone but yourself. Do not tokenize people of color, but make them integral to each dialogue, making space for their voice to speak to their experience of injustice and stand with them in solidarity.
And their leadership.
Yes. The poor and disenfranchised need to be a vital part of this movement. Do not create another 1% on the other end of the spectrum, the poorest of the poor, by making them invisible. Their plight must also be ours. Young people need to be a vital part of this movement. We must not de-radicalize them. We must show them solidarity. And if young people are leaving your local movement, ask the question why. Talk to them, encourage their passion and voice. Engage that passion and let it lead you. Their fire has not been dimmed to domesticated impotence, and their fire can reignite your own. I want to speak to language also. Today we stand on the soil of a long-standing occupation of native lands. I believe we must all be willing to engage the dialogue about language, but deeper yet about decolonization. Yes. But first we must decolonize our own minds and hearts. Please don't shut down this dialogue, but come to it with compassion and a commitment against forgetting the history of this land and its peoples. This dialogue, no matter what the outcome, is an opportunity to engage the experiences of tribal peoples and grow in understanding and solidarity. I believe we must trace injustice back to the roots. Otherwise, we perpetuate the colonial legacy that keeps growing more heads like the Hydra, where we demand justice for some of us while participating in cultural amnesia. Last, I want to borrow something from a civil rights activist that recently inspired me greatly for his conviction and commitment to the cause. In fact, he died for it. When he would speak to audiences, he would often call out 4 words and ask the audience to yell them back. And I would like to do that with you today. So are you ready?
Yeah!
I am a revolutionary.
I am a revolutionary.
I am a revolutionary.
I am a revolutionary.
I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary.
I am a revolutionary.
And don't you forget it.